Hey y'all, another one. So it says Zofran 0.15 milligram per kilogram for is ordered IV one time for the day. However, my patient weighs 22 kilogram. So because my patient already weighs 22 kilogram, I don't need to convert anything. But then the question asks me, how many milliliter per dose will I administer? So how I go about doing this, I say 0.15 milligram per kilogram times 22 kg. And once I go ahead and I take my kgs out, I'm left with milligrams. So I say on my calculator, I type in 0.15 milligram times 22, which will actually give me 3.3 milligrams. So my patient is supposed to receive 3.3 milligram. Now I'm gonna take this 3.3 milligram, and based on the label, it says that 4 milligram per 5 milliliter is available. So as you know how I normally do it, I normally say 3.3 milligram times 5 ml. And then once I get that answer, I will go ahead and I divide it by 4 milligrams. So when I did 3.3 milligram times 5 ml, I got 16.5. I went ahead and I divided it by 4, and I ended up with 4.1 milliliter per dose. So I will be giving my patient 4.1 milliliter per dose of Zofran. So that's that right there. I know a lot of people might be saying, oh, why don't you just go ahead and do 3.3 divided by 4 and then times it by 5? Whenever I do that, it normally messes me up with in the end with my rounding, so I just avoid doing that. So moving on to number 5, it says infuse 500 milliliter of D5 lactated ringer over 4 hours. You should start the infusion at 19:45 hours, which we know we always do military time. That would be like 7:45 p.m. It says drop factor is 60 GTT per ml. So now we are going to go ahead and we're going to work our math. So based on my rounding rule, I studied the formula. So that's why I'll go ahead and put it in. I'll just go ahead and write it in because I know my formula by heart. So I would say 500 ml divided by 4 hours times 60 GTT per ml. Now the what it's asking me for, it says calculate the drops per minute. So based on my rounding rule, if it's greater than 4 hours, you have to divide it by 60. I don't like working with a lot of numbers, so I try to take some out. So I was like, okay, milliliter, take out milliliter over there. Then I'll move forward to say that 60 will take out that 60. And yeah, I'm left with 500 and over 4 hours. So what I do now, I would say when I divided it, I'll get 125 GTT per minute. I go ahead and I put my answer there. So I first got 125 drops per minute. Then it moved on to ask me calculate the milliliter per hour. So based on my rounding rule again, if it's greater than 1 hour, I am going to just divide the total amount of milliliter by the number of hours. So that is all I'm doing. And this is all based on my school's rounding rule. I don't know if everyone's school have a rounding rule or what do they do, but I'm doing mine based on Broward College. So yeah. I'm just looking to write it out for you so that you'll be able to see what I'm saying. You know, as I said, I can always put the rounding rule on here so you guys can actually see what I'm talking about. I mean, go check out my fundamental videos because I do put it in there so that you'll be able to see how I work all these maths out. I didn't just come up with a theory on my own. I follow a certain rule. And by practicing and practicing, it becomes easier. So that's how I'm left with 125 milliliter per hour. And then it says at what time this infusion will end military time. So this is something new everyone is going to learn about me. I'm not the one to count on my fingers. I have to write it down. So it says that the infusion starts at 19:45. It's been running for 4 hours. So what I'm going to go ahead and do, I'm going to go ahead and write it down and show you how I normally write it on exams, because I am not messing up. You only can get one wrong, and this will not be the one that I get wrong. So I say 1945 to 2045 is 1 hour, 20 to 2145 is 2 hour, 2245 would make it be 3 hours, and 2345 would make it be 4 hours. So at 23:45 my infusion will be finished, and that's that. And there you go, we're all done here. If you have any question, you let me know in the comment below.